folks.
Some say he's dead.
Welcome to Werewolf Radar, the world's premier that's not a word, premier paranormal preparedness podcast. My name is Jordan Dahl.
I am Nate Baldwin.
And I am Roger Norquist.
Today's episode of Werewolf Radar is brought to you by Monstroco Monthly presents A Box of What You Need. Delivered monthly, this mysterious cubicle crate contains exactly what you need in the moment, depending on the day that it's opened. Food, water, a 1.5-inch slip joint washer to fix the leaky sink. Here it is, right on time. The Box of What You Need by Monstroco. How did they know? Note, this is a box of what you need, not what you want. Contents may include, but are not limited to, a cold statement of fact, medicine for an unknown liver disease, or a frank, sweaty slap in the mouth. Rest assured, it's for your own good, Brian.
Nice. That last statement makes it seem it's not for me and it's only for Brian, but I like a Monstroco monthly subscription service such as this.
I suspect that maybe Brian was the one who was asking the question at the time.
Right. And
like
Monstroco
listening to the podcast was like, but what if it's, oh, all right, it's something I want. And they had to be like, listen, Brian, this is what you need. Because in that moment, that's what he needed, was that information to tell him to, hey, listen up, pal.
They do work in mysterious ways.
Mm-hmm.
Monstroco.
Monstroco has their fingers in many pots. Monstroco, pot of fingers. By Monstroco.
Well, may I start this end of the month episode
Fucking
of January?
Pop it off, G.
All right, I'm going to take the speaking skull out of the speaking bag.
Oh, it's wriggling. It's screaming.
It screams a little bit.
Oh, we need to clean that bag.
I refuse to. One of you two can, but I don't know how to work the laundry machine.
That's what the intern's for. Well, the intern is inside the bag, isn't it?
Someone wake the intern. Rise, my intern.
So I found something neat that I thought everyone here would enjoy. When was the last time we talked about big people?
Like big feet people, or just like generally large individuals?
Like
both, actually. I felt it's been a while since we've talked about a good gigantoid.
We talk about giants sometimes. They show up in the archaeological record, but I'm always down. I'm always game.
I found one that I've never truly heard about before. I was surfing the mysterious universe, as we're known to do.
Big dude subreddits.
And I found from Brent Swasser a nice piece and collection of news reports about the big blue man of the Ozarks.
Dabba dee dabba doo. That was a little blue guy.
That was a little blue
about
guy,
a little blue man who lives in a blue world.
Nah, this is a big blue man who lives in our world, and quite frankly is terrifying.
I'm in need of a guide. I'm in need of.
So this is all over the place. It is from an article, once again written by Brent Spencer for Mysterious Universe, and it is about a Bigfoot-like cryptid. Human-like, ape features, very tall, but instead of dark hair and all that, it seems to be blue.
Dabba dee dabba doo.
Right. Punk rock hair dye Bigfoot.
One curious encounter comes to us from the Ozarks. If you're not familiar with that mountain range, it spans America's Missouri, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. Also, Kansas. I'm probably missing a few states. Let's throw in New England.
Okay. Get in there, New England.
Get in here, New England. You're part of the party.
I don't want to hear any complaints.
In 1965, sometime in the winter, a veteran hunter named Sol Collins went deer hunting in a place called Spring Creek and came across bear-like footprints. Now, he was very knowledgeable about bear tracks And this was unlike anything he had ever seen before. These footprints weren't just larger than they should be for the bears in the region, but they were very oddly shaped and had strange markings that looked like they were made by large claws, or a footprint with very large claws.
Spooky.
Which bears
Spooky and
have some nice claws, but we're talking like everything's large around here. This is a massive bear if it is a bear. Very unusual.
This was large enough to make a mountain man go. Arrgh!
Yes, indeed.
He
indeed.
slid his shades down and was like, whoa.
Snow had fallen the night before, making it easy for Collins, a veteran snow tracker, to follow the tracks. The footprints snaked through the wilderness until they reached the northern slopes of Upper Twin Mountain. It is here that Collins learns that these are not footprints of a bear, but something much stranger. Collins followed the footsteps up the slope and he heard a noise from above. 2 boulders rolled down the slope and he struggled to avoid them. During this struggle, he briefly caught a glimpse of a giant creature. The creature was completely covered in dark blue fur that took on an odd depth, like a navy blue, essentially.
Whoa, like how a cat is blue sometimes?
Are cats navy blue?
Sometimes there's
Well,
those
the right lighting.
Russian
Yeah,
blue cats. It's a thing.
Okay. Then yes, exactly like that.
Nice.
Collins described the creature as huge, no less than 3 meters. We're talking 10 feet tall and covered in thick muscle. He was really admiring this dude's muscles, nothing gay.
Sure. Well, I mean, it is the Yukon.
It's not gay to admire another man's physique.
If you're celebrating physique in the cold of the Yukon, is just survival.
The beast apparently carried a large club.
Then wore a Speedo.
Which it swung in the air before
I drew calendar. I don't know why I'm making him Russian.
The beast apparently carried a large club, which it swung in the air before then setting the weapon aside and picking up a rock to throw at the hunter.
Oh. I mean, that is some Bigfoot shit.
Collins ran away, and soon as he returned to town, he gathered other hunters, and they went on a creature hunt.
That has to be one of the most fun experiences. You're sitting at the bar, and all of a sudden, crazy Mountain Sam comes barging in, screaming about a creature, like, I need a posse right goddamn now!
Kicks in the door, you're fucking a whiskey and a half deep, wishing you had something to do on a Friday night.
The bartender turns around, tosses, throws the whiskey bottle on the bar, hands everyone back their 6-shooters.
Yeah. Which one of y'all got true grit? Monster hunting grit.
Now it gets bizarre.
It gets bizarre.
This whole thing's bizarre, but we start finding some weird things that are separate from a Bigfoot, essentially. For several days, Colin and his group tracked the big blue man, who was said to have been seen several times, and found sheepskins, pigskins, parts of dog skins, many bones, feathers, and other items from the past, from possible kills of the big blue man in the past.
Yeah, he's blue. Dubba-doo.
They even found a burrow filled with the remains of a feast that were unable to capture or shoot whatever it was caught in there.
Oh.
Not long after this first encounter, with the big blue man, other locals reported seeing the creatures as well. In 1974, the beast resurfaced with a sighting that was reported by hunters to the Ridge Runner magazine.
Love Ridge Runner. Best
Next time the blue man was seen when O.C. Collins was searching for 2 lost lambs. He discovered the creature at Spring Creek, 4 miles away from Old Houghton. 2 days later, Cap Turner came across the Blue Man catching fish by hand at Indian Creek. Can you imagine living in such a small town where you don't have to put who Cap Turner is?
These are I don't know many Ozark names. These have to be the most Ozark names.
Ice Bones McFrostahan.
So Cap Turner sees the big blue man fishing, and the big blue man chases Turner down a steep hillside, brandishing a huge axe.
Wow, he's got an axe now. He's out here fucking grinding experience, leveling up.
Dude, he's gonna be mining iron soon.
I mean, apparently he was so loaded up with animal loot that he didn't even need those skins from before.
He's just chucking those skins aside. You can turn those into the city guard for an experience bump.
So after this incident, a few days later, Cal Alsop, the even greater Ozark name,
I see,
followed the Blue Man into a cave. As he stumbled through the darkness, he found what appeared to be a dried sheep's fur that fed the Blue Man. He had seen one more time after escaping his pursuers in a cave. At Abba Crossing, I was catching crawfish from under rocks and eating their tails. That's a weird way to end that quote. So in November,
was you doing up there?
Now
Are you the Blue Man?
And good for Cal for following them into a cave. I would not follow anything described so far into the cave.
Yeah, truly. Well, these guys were made of sterner stuff, you know?
Sterner stuff, stupider stuff, in my opinion. But we'll see who lives when I finally follow the Blue Man into the cave. November 15th, 1924, there was a hysteria of Blue Man fever in northern Howell and Douglas counties. It continued on. We got Tater Hill. If you're familiar with any of these, let us know in the comments of our YouTube or just on our Twitter page. Tater Hill to Collins Fords, Blue Buck to Abba Crossing. Everyone was looking for the Blue Man.
Sure.
They kept everything safe. Cattle weren't allowed to graze. Sheep were guarded by rifle welding herdsmen. Everything was brought in at night. Apparently, some of these hunters also found the monsters' dens. There were multiple dens found.
Damn.
And they fired wildly into the dens.
Sure.
All right, that's that Saturday night energy we're talking about.
One report states that some of the hunters managed to drive the Blue Men into the trees.
Oh.
Like they drove them out of the Ozarks. Like this is confirmed sightings, essentially.
Multiple
hunters, just multiple hunters firing in, driving them off.
This is the most D&D thing we've ever covered. This sounds like a bugbear out there in the woods. He's got an axe. He's got a club. He used rock throw. It was super effective.
Of course, there's no physical evidence of any of this.
I didn't realize there was multiple of them. And also, the more you talk about it, the more I'm picturing Grover from Sesame Street in my head, or Cookie Monster.
This next clip comes from the Washington Times. 6 weeks ago, a farmer noticed that 2 of his lambs had not returned home with the rest of his flock. He searched the hillsides and found their bloody fur in a hollow deep in the forest. Sorry, I read that wrong. Found their bloody fur in a hollow deep in the forest. The next day, he saw the Blue Man running over a pig in the woods.
Like with his monster truck?
That's what I'm thinking. But it did take place in 1911, so it could be a Model A or T type, which would have made that sound for the horn.
Sure.
Right.
Match.
His bluish black coat was now iron gray. So I guess we're now moving into gray man territories.
Right. He's getting up there in age. He doesn't even need to eat him anymore. He's just killing because that's all he knows.
That's all we know.
His limbs weren't as muscular as they once were. A few hardy Ozark mountain folk would want to risk fighting this terrifying creature alone. It is also doubtful whether the secret of his long absence and mysterious return will ever be solved.
Wow. There you have it.
I have more as well, but I would like you to go to mysteriousuniverse.org and find this Blue Man article and read it for yourself. It's a fun one. There's some what am I trying to say? Reminiscent descriptions between it and Swamp Thing.
Sure.
It has it sometimes has flowers on its person.
Well,
not like holding it, but like attached to it.
He's like pondering the meaning of
he likes to be a pretty gentleman.
Sure.
It's a long read. Please take some time and enjoy it. But in the Ozarks, long story short, there seems to be a fucking blue Bigfoot roaming around and has been since the 1870s.
Bigfoot. Maybe he's just cold.
Maybe he's just cold.
Stupid. I'm sorry.
Possible.
May I have the skull next?
You may have it. I'm going to keep it out of the speaking bag for right now, and I will clean it. I will take it to the cleaners right now. Here you go.
Thank you. Strangely, the speaking skull itself, very clean. It's just the bag.
Maybe it eats the dirt.
Interesting. I want to talk to you guys about a weird thing that's been bubbling up on the deep internet recently.
Ooh.
This was first brought to my attention from my brother. He sent me a TikTok about a guy talking about coincidences. And you know those weird coincidences that are like did you know that JFK and Abraham Lincoln both had hats on sometimes?
I am familiar with various things.
They both wore jackets, and both of the jackets had buttons.
Did you know that Edgar Casey and the Baba Vanga both took naps in the afternoon?
Another interesting correlation between JFK and Lincoln, they were both shot by a guy.
Yeah, because women weren't allowed to shoot things yet.
I mean,
well, this is sort of in that vein, but it's a little stranger, a little more contemporary. This is a question posed by the internet at large, and in this case, Medium.com. We all know Medium. They ask, is Trump a time traveler? So we all know.
I think I heard some rumblings about this.
Like how so? Surely if he was a time traveler, and I'm not trying to be rude, he would be smarter.
And patron saint of American fascism, Donald Trump, there is some stuff going around that suggests that maybe he is a time traveler, albeit, as you say, a very stupid one. He's not very good at it. So it all kind of started when the Library of Congress archive website, somebody was looking through it and they came across a book called, quote, Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey. This is a book that was published in 1893 by a man called Lockwood Ingersoll. He was a lawyer. He was trying to kind of get in on the Baron von Munchausen and traveling marvels.
Yeah, you had Baron von Munchausen. You had Baron von Mausen. Anything with Baron sold, man.
Oh yeah, sold. And later he got kind of eclipsed by the Wizard
the Red
Oz
Baron, the pizza guy,
and good books that came out. But this guy did write this book called Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, and it had a couple of sequels. One was called Travels and Adventures of Little Baron Trump and His Wonderful Dog Bulger. One was called The Underground Journey, and one was called The Last President, if you can believe it.
Nice.
The Underground Journey is about a little boy called Baron Trump. Well, actually, his name is Willem Heinrich Sebastian von Trump, but he goes by Baron. He finds a secret portal, time travels to different periods. And as we know, Baron is the name of Donald Trump's youngest son. If you look at the character's drawings,
youngest yet still tallest.
Dude, 6'8" or some shit. Man's gonna play in the NBA.
He is a long lad, a long, lanky lad. He goes on an underground journey, and some of the drawings in the book look weirdly like Baron Trump, the kid. So yeah,
on the underground journey is of course meant to expose a railroad to stop runaways.
Yeah, yeah, it's all a weird roundabout way for him to talk about how it's hard being white in America, apparently. So in the book, little Baron Trump has a mentor and a father figure. What do you think that guy's name is?
Fred.
Guess again. It's Don.
Okay. It's not Jerwickle.
His name is Don. That's the name of the guy's father figure, it's pretty weird, I got to admit. But his name isn't Don Trump. Baron is the only Trump involved here.
It does seem, though, like maybe Fred Trump, who I was referencing, the father of Donald Trump, just named his son after. Maybe this is like their favorite book series in the family.
Wouldn't that be weird if they have
it
and it's on the shelf? Like in my family, it's the Brownie book by Enid Blyton. Nobody knows about it. No, I've never heard anyone mention it outside of my family, and yet we all know it and love it.
All right.
So he goes on this underground journey with his mentor and father figure, man named Don. It all takes place in Russia, which we know old Donald Trump has connections to. 4 years later, Ingersoll published the sequel, The Last President. And a prominent coincidental name aside, this is where stuff starts to get weird. The main plot is about a very wealthy man who lives on Fifth Avenue in New York and decides to run for president. And naturally, no one expects him to win. As you might expect by now, located at 725 Fifth Avenue in New York City. What is it? Of course, Trump Tower.
I was going to say the post office.
They might have a branch in Trump Tower.
This book was written nearly 124 years ago, and these are probably all just weird coincidences. But in the book, shortly after the mysterious wealthy man wins the election that no one expected him to win, he's inaugurated and starts selecting his cabinet. One of the first people he chooses is another mysterious gentleman who goes by the name Mr. Pence.
Okay, this is insane now.
It's pretty insane. Granted, in the book, he's given the post of Secretary of Agriculture rather than Vice President, but still, what's going on here? After his inauguration, since no one expected him to win, the city of New York and the broader U.S. in general erupts into violence, with people rioting and damaging property left, right, and center.
Wait, this is a children's book?
Apparently. So naturally, the new president signed some new executive orders to help control the people better. There is other stuff. There's Baron Trump himself, the kid, is like, his weird kind of hook is that he is like super smart, but in a very dumb and arrogant way. And a lot of the things he says like feel like something Donald Trump would say. He's always talking about how smart he is. He sues his teachers because he wants back payments for all the things he taught them. So he's very litigious. He's constantly insulting people. Nobody likes him very much, but he's able to kind of charm his way into situations by being this larger than life character. It's a pretty spooky parallel, but of course, this is all pretty cherry picked, and like, is Don is simply the name of a guy who's not called Don Trump, and it's like it happens in Russia. That's kind of your
we're
they
stretching
both
a
wore
lot on
jackets
things, but
sort of situation.
in the eyes of prophecy, one is to stretch.
Yeah, it's pretty weird, but it gets a little weirder. Everyone knows about the forgotten physicist Nikola Tesla. Well, how can
I don't like literally
this?
we talk about him on a weekly basis, at least one thing.
Yeah. 1943, he died bankrupt, in love with a pigeon, and all alone in room 3327.
Oh, they say it like it's a bad thing too. I wish to die with the thing I love.
Yeah. He died from a blood clot in 1943 at the age of 86. Some people will tell you that Tesla designed a time machine. Isn't really true. He was generally pretty critical of Einstein's theory of relativity. One of the main ideas that time is based on, which is that space is curved, basically.
Fluctuates. Yeah.
Right. Which would mean that, you can kind of come back around, as it were. However, after he died, the U.S. government took possession of all of his inventions, theories, and files in the interest of seeing what he knew. The department that took everything was known as the Office of Alien Property. That's weird, but they mean like foreigners.
Yeah, translation error.
Yeah,
it meant a different thing then.
Yeah. After they took a long look at everything, they handed everything left over to the FBI. Long story short, the FBI hired an outside engineer from MIT to make sense of everything Tesla had, especially his inventions. And the man they hired, his name was John G. Trump, the late uncle of President Trump.
I see.
After studying everything, John Trump determined there was nothing dangerous in Tesla inventions that could hurt the U.S. government. So the conspiracy goes that perhaps John Trump lied to the government, kept Tesla's theories to himself and out of the hands of the government, perhaps to help his own family, who then not only time traveled through time to set up their vast wealth, but also cement their power in society. So the idea is that
they were already some of the most corrupt people. In at least in New York.
Yeah. The idea being that somewhere in Tesla's writings was some sort of counter theory to Einstein's theory of relativity, which he called a dynamic theory of gravity. That he claimed would put an end to idle speculations and false conceptions about curved space. That's a quote. So maybe whatever this dynamic theory of gravity was actually made time travel possible. Maybe John G. Trump took it and in some way or some small way or maybe large way, they were able to manipulate the time stream, launch us into alternate 1985 where Trump is president, even though he kind of fucked it up and Robin Williams is dead in this timeline,
Well, I mean...
Yeah.
I was going to say I would kill Robin Williams no matter what the timeline, but that's the curse that I have. But I couldn't think of a better joke, so I stopped myself. But then I kept coming out.
It's okay. I put a long pause.
I didn't realize you were clinical depression.
I am clinical depression. Hear me roar.
They go on to say there is one more thing to this theory, but we're not sure it fits in. And it's so far out of left field that it's going to fly around the planet and smack us in the head. Great work, Medium. See,
it is interesting. It's fascinating. Go on. Sorry.
President Trump's mother's name is Mary.
Yes.
And his father's middle name is Christ.
Mary.
Sure. Whose middle name wasn't Christ at this time, though?
His name's Fred Christ.
I guess so. What's more, his birthday
can't be right. It's got to be like Fred Christian or something.
No, I swear to God, I'm looking it up. His name is Frederick Christ Trump.
Wow.
That is fucking psychotic.
Born in New York with proper birth records to our standards. His middle name is Christ.
Wow. His birthday of June 14th, 1946 was marked by a total lunar eclipse. So some intense energies were going on back then. Further, many of the early parts of these books, especially the first one, recount Baron Trump's adventures in the Hollow Earth, meeting with secret civilizations and dealing with the natives there. I read a little bit. He meets these guys called the Wind Eaters, who they eat wind and it blows them up like balloons until they eat too much and they burst. It's very strange. Not saying that this means Trump is the next Jesus or the Antichrist, but as far as conspiracies go, there are ideas about both on either side of this equation. Pretty wild theory. Now we know how this sounds, they say on medium.com.
Okay, good. Just long as you also know this is a little bit far to the left field.
It's a pretty strange idea that the Trump family wrote these books or somehow influenced Ingersoll. Or maybe Ingersoll wrote these books as an expose to warn us. Whether it's true or not, it's certainly one hell of a coincidence. If you want to see a funny take on it, Jamie Fuller wrote in Politico that the character of Baron Trump is often, quote, precocious, restless, and prone to get in trouble, often mentions his, quote, massive brain, and has a personalized insult for most of the people he meets, which sounds familiar. This sounds like Darnold J. Chump. Garnold Cramp. So there you have it. That's kind of the pervading knowledge on the Trump as a time traveler theory. There's these weird books that seem to connect to a lot of touchstones in his life. Go to TikTok, put Baron Trump theory into that search bar and just fucking blast off, y'all.
Yeah. drop down the water slide through the rabbit hole.
It is a wild scene out there. And some of the pictures are worth looking up too. The character of Baron Trump is a little weirdo. He has a gigantic brain. His head is like way too big. And he just dresses in ancient Chinese clothing, Chinese like royalty robes and things and strange hats. It's very weird.
Another fun fact about the Trump family is that Donald Trump's grandfather owned a brothel. For
here's
minors,
fun fact.
He was doing a service.
And here's another fun fact. And his grandfather was a piece of shit too. All right. Well, there you have it. That's my segment.
That's wild.
Called Keeping Up with the Trumps.
I like it. I don't know what to think about it. There's a lot of coincidences there. But I've also read a lot of worse claims of time travelers I believed. It's up there.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, even if it's not time travel, there could be some sort of weird lightning bolt happen to jam itself inside Ingersoll's subconscious one night. There was just like a weird vibration from this time that molded itself into this story.
Nice. You're ready to play Alan Wake 2, Nate.
I'm finally ready.
Yeah.
All right, let's jab my fingers into the mouth of the speaking skull.
Why do you
and let it gently clamp on and slide up my palm and allow me to speak it through my skull. I have several tales of phantom buses.
Oh! Explaining the background finally. I like this one.
Yes, the frightening bus. And this isn't just, if you look up phantom bus, it turns out that's also a name for anytime a bus doesn't come to your stop on time.
I need to tell Kylie that. That's a good one.
That's funny.
Yeah. These are legit ghost buses. This first one is London's Phantom number 7 that ran drivers off the road.
Oh.
This takes place back in 1934. This is, of course, a double-decker, big old red bus, the London style.
Mm-hmm.
Public transportation is safe, cheap, convenient, and recommendable. In large cities like London, it's preferred to personal means of transport, whether during the day or at nighttime. Back in 1934, when London had only a handful of night buses, and those too were rare and far in between, one rogue double
terrifying in and of itself. The night bus.
Well, this next part of that sentence is going to terrify you even more. One rogue double-decker went on a rampage that earned it a spot on the list of London's biggest and strangest ghost stories.
Okay.
The urban legend of Phantom Number 7 London bus goes back to an accident that took place in June of 34. A man driving his car on an otherwise empty street reached the intersection at Cambridge Gardens and Ladbrokes Broke in West London when a red double-decker appeared out of thin air and charged at him.
Awful. Scary.
Oh, boy.
The poor chap swerved to avoid the bus and ran off the road, smashing against a building.
Oh, boy.
According to the story, either the car burst into flames, killing the driver on the spot, or he survived long enough to tell authorities what happened. The former version claims several eyewitnesses came forward to tell the cops about the mysterious double-decker bus that ran the car off the road. Whichever the account, it had this in common. The bus appeared out of nowhere, it was completely empty, including driver, and disappeared just as the car went off the road.
It's a Christine. It's a Bustine.
It is. This thing was after the guy in this car.
Dang.
The description of
tried to transfer hop or something.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Or maybe it was just like, why am I an empty bus driving around at night? This guy, stop driving your car, drivers. The future of transportation is buses.
The future of transportation is upon you.
The description of the bus got even more specific. It bore the number 7 on its side and the word general. That would be the livery of London General, a line that had gone belly up 1 year before in 1933 and was eventually taken over by London Transport. The bus was, even if it had been driven by somebody, no one should have had access to this thing.
Yeah.
The bus was fully lit, which means everyone on the outside could see that it was completely empty. It appeared at precisely 1:15 a.m. and disappeared within minutes.
Interesting.
From that accident on, sightings of the phantom bus increased all along St. Mark's Road. To this day, it is believed to have caused hundreds of similar accidents by simply appearing on the road and charging toward cars.
Did you guys ever watch Regular Show?
Yeah.
Do you remember the one that was like, hello, governor?
Yeah. They
like
watched
a ghost
the horror movie that starts.
It's like a ghost taxi,
chasing,
like a yellow or a black cab from London. This is full on hello, governor.
Oh, absolutely. This bus will meet you in a public restroom.
Really?
Charging toward cars, forcing drivers to swerve to avoid collision, only to be met with a more gruesome outcome.
Yikes.
Legend has it that the bus, so here's your paranormal preparedness, always appeared at 1:15 a.m. on the clock and not always in motion.
Oh, boy.
So sometimes it's just sitting on the side of the road.
Just kicking it.
Would just
eating
disappear.
A sandwich.
Yeah.
I got a break too.
It would disappear when drunken pedestrians assumed it was a proper bus that could take them home safely and tried to board.
Oh, that's even more frightening.
Yeah,
like you try to board this bus right in front of you, and then you look around because your buddy tells a sick drunk joke or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you reach for the door and it's just exactly.
Oh, look at your booze, throw it away.
Love that move. The old eater.
It never caused any casualty among pedestrians, and all its ghostly wrath was reserved for the drivers of cars.
Yeah.
However, it was said that whoever would board it would be lost forever.
Whoa.
That makes sense.
Fuck.
However, if anyone did, no one knows.
Because they were lost forever. They never got to tell the tale. I'm liking more and more that this is the spirit of responsible transportation. It's like, well,
check it out.
Wake up to mass transportation, you chuds.
This next paragraph is all about that. Depending on who you believe, if you choose to believe any of these stories, the number 7 bus only haunted the area for about a decade when stories began to die down. Others name May 1990 as the last sighting of the number 7 bus, so quite a few years later. As that year coincided with a series of changes to the road, including widening it, fixing it, and improving visibility by adding more street illumination.
Hey.
Worth noting, this was apparently called like a dead man's corner or some shit like that. There was just, for whatever reason, there were a lot of car accidents here until May of 1990 when London decided to fix it. That helped launch a new urban myth about how the ghost of the driver of that bus or the bus itself was only running cars off the road to get authorities to understand how dangerous that stretch of road was.
Oh, okay.
The ghost is beneficial.
Yeah.
It killed that guy in the car fire because he didn't know about the danger of the corner.
It was trying to warn him.
By any means necessary.
By any means necessary.
Let's see. I've got a Mexican ghost bust or a Philly ghost bust.
Ooh, Mexican ghost bust.
I got to hear about the Mexican ghost bust.
All right, but I think I'll do Philly first and then Mexican.
Okay. Keep us waiting.
The icing.
Okay.
This is from City Occult number 3, The Bus to Nowhere. Imagine you're at rock bottom, or maybe you don't have to imagine. You got fired from your job or evicted from your quintessential Philadelphian row home. Tail between your legs, you walk the city at night with heavy thoughts and a burdened heart. No destination, no idea where to go next, and a general sense of impending doom. At the very moment you feel you can't go on any longer, like a movie, a light catches your eye from the next block. Big headlights of enlightenment sifting through the night like a cartoon window pie's warm scent twisting toward a nostril. I wish that I could say I was embellishing this with bad imagery. It rounds the corner and there's nothing displayed on the LCD screen. You don't know why, but you get the sense that this bus is here for you.
No.
Such is the story of the Bus to Nowhere, a mysterious vehicle that first appeared in Philly folklore only a decade ago. And I'm not sure when this was written, but probably more like 15 years or something like that. The City of Philadelphia's Southeastern Pennsylvania Transit Authority, or SEPTA, manages hundreds of buses servicing the city as well as the greater metropolitan area. With an estimated 1.3 million commuters residing in Philly, trying to catch a late SEPTA vehicle is a daily occurrence for many. Only the selected few, however, will ever be able to ride the Bus to Nowhere. The bus has no display. It is not listed on any transportation maps or either of the terrible glitchy SEPTA apps. Also known as the Zero or the Wandering Bus, it's most often spotted in the areas of West Powelton, Center City, Passyunk, and North Broad in the Dauphin and Glenwood areas.
Nice. Our Zero bus is the Broadway one, too.
Exactly. Only picking up passengers who are in the depths of their despair, the driver, or drivers, for all we know, keep their eyes and face rather concealed as you board, tucked beneath their blue hat. It's fair to assume that the drivers have a second sense for finding these hopeless individuals. Or perhaps they simply drive all day and night, waiting for those who chase. As there's no fare, you do have to earn your ticket, hence the chase. The drivers often make the riders run after the bus, if only for a moment, to really prove how bad they want or need the ride. Potential passengers know immediately and inexplicably upon seeing the bus that it has come to help them and have two options: chase it down or ignore it.
I mean, I know what I'm picking.
Well, you feel like this thing is there to help you or to do something for you. You know, maybe you want to get on. Warning to those who do ignore, however, if you ignore the bus, you never get a second chance to ride. As they board, an automated voice announces the name of the intersection from which the person was picked up. No mention of destinations or stops. The driver is said not to interact with passengers, only gesturing for them to take a seat. Now, based on the people I see riding the MFL every morning, the bus definitely does not take everyone who's at rock bottom. Thanks, cityroute.com. Once seated, the journey begins. You immediately fall into a state of deep reflection, drifting into a daze. This is the supposed magic of the bus. It allows you to confront your demons, both consciously and subconsciously. What's scary about this soul-searching state is its duration. You're in this limbo for as long as you need to be, for as long as it takes you to realize where you need to go. So it's a self-help journey.
I see. It's very much a journey of self-reflection and internalization.
Sure.
Yeah. Every choice, scenario, and outcome is dissected and revealed to the writer during their journey, and it's only once they've seen the errors of their ways that they gain the ability to leave regret behind and make room for change going forward that they emerge from this particular mental state.
Wow.
The length of the ride can be minutes and hours for some. For others, it can be days or weeks.
Dang.
It has been rumored to last months and even years for a select tormented few.
It's intense.
Dude,
I've been riding the bus for years.
We're living off of Skittles that somebody stepped on and they stuck to the ground.
When the passenger emerges from this analytical limbo, their identity and purpose is realized. They are triumphant over past trauma. They are enlightened, but that does not mean they are relieved. Fulfilling purpose requires work. This is when they snap out of the trance. It's at this point that they can tug the cord and be dropped off at the exact same block they were picked up from. At which point, you have to find another bus.
So no matter what, it's not taking you to where you want to go, but where you need to go.
It's taking you to where you emotionally need to be to start the work of rebuilding yourself.
Nice. I like how the paranormal realm looked at the city of Philly, saw how much mental help was needed, and created a ghost to just force mental help upon people.
Well, check this out. It's not just Philly. To add to the mystery, the bus, or one just like it, has reportedly been seen in other cities across the northeastern United States. Operating between the hours from dusk till dawn, it seems to know where it's needed and shows up accordingly.
Okay.
So, yeah, this thing is, it might be around. The city route here posits that it might be a product of imagination or mass psychosis stemming from the first post about it back in 2011.
You're all crazy. Got it.
But apparently people they're talking about it. They're still talking about it. At least they were in like 3 years ago.
They're still
when this
talking
article
about
picked it up. I think it's probably still happening.
Now that was delicious cake.
Yeah,
I want that frosting now. I want that sweet Mexican butter frosting.
Yep. Well, this one is going to spook you.
Oh boy.
Good, because the other one made me feel good about the universe. Like the universe is out there trying to help people. And that's not a traditional ghost story.
I read some other accounts that talk about how a lot of people that get on the Phantom, the wandering bus, they never are seen again.
No.
But this one's good. Amidst the mystic landscapes of Mexico lies a spine-chilling legend that sends... Thank you for this next part of this same sentence that sends shivers down the spines.
Okay, sure.
Spine-chilling, well, yeah.
Right.
Of those who dare to hear it, the Mexican Ghost Bus.
Nice.
This eerie ghost story revolves around a perilous mountain road, an ill-fated bus journey, and the paranormal encounters of those who cross its path. Join us as we delve into the hair-raising details and haunted aspects of this eerie tale.
Oh, we delving.
We're delving, damn it. Once upon a time, another terrible way to open anything. The route between the city of Toluca and the town of Ixtapa de la Sal was a perilous journey along a narrow, winding mountain road. I imagine that it probably still is. On one side stood towering vertical rock, while on the other lay a sheer, terrifying drop. A road fraught with danger and ominous shadows. One evening, an ordinary bus, just like any other, embarked on its regular overnight journey from Ixtapan de la Sal to Toluca. Passengers seeking rest during the long ride settled into their seats, oblivious to the unfolding darkness that awaited them.
Oh boy.
As the bus ascended the mountain, rain began to pour, making the journey even more treacherous.
Ooh.
Sure.
But these were seasoned travelers, and even they felt an unusual apprehension as the bus started to gain speed on the slick, wet road.
Oh boy.
Calls to the driver went unanswered, and the fear began to grip their hearts.
Driver, I'm trying to call you. Pick up your phone.
The bus hurtled downhill uncontrollably, and in a heartbeat, tragedy struck. I feel like that should be reversed. The tragedy is that it's going downhill uncontrollably.
Right.
The driver swerved to negotiate a curve, but it was too late. The bus skidded off the cliff, plummeting into the abyss below. It crashed against jagged rocks, leaving devastation and death in its wake. The once lit interior was now a scene of darkness and despair. Some passengers met instant demise, while others lay unconscious and bleeding amid the wreckage. Trapped souls cried out for help, unheard amidst the raging flames that engulfed the ill-fated bus. Since that fateful night, locals have reported ghostly sightings of an old bus traveling late at night along the same road. An eerie glow surrounds the bus, as if beckoned by the spirits. It stops for anyone who extends a hand. The doors creak open, and one empty seat always awaits a new passenger.
Oh boy, room for one more.
Everyone else is like staring at them with empty white eyes.
You have no idea how right you are.
Okay, my nightmares, whenever I think of the worst thing I can think of that would spook me, that is the answer.
As brave souls step inside, a chilling sensation fills their core. The bus appears full, but nobody sleeps, and an eerie silence hangs in the air. All the passengers stare forward, their eyes glazed and devoid of life.
Oh boy.
A few minutes later, a ghostly conductor appears, checking tickets without uttering a word. Strange discomfort envelops those on board, but when it's time to pay, the conductor ignores the money.
Oh no,
his words,
the price has already been paid.
Exactly. His words echo through the silence. There is no charge. Go now and don't look back, or you will never leave this bus. I also read one of these where you can actually pick this bus up before the crash somewhere, and it'll go like a couple stops before this guy like comes around to check, which is like even creepier.
This is acceptable travel between Aguilera Street and Oaxaca Street.
Rio Mundo. Yeah.
Those who heed the warning, who resist the urge to glance behind, hear the bus doors close and the engine roar to life. The bus vanishes into the night, leaving behind an unsettling emptiness. Yet, for the disobedient, those who dare to turn around, a ghastly sight awaits them. As they glimpse behind, the bus reveals its true form, a charred skeletal wreck. Its once filled seats now occupied by emaciated specters staring through the windows.
I didn't even know the buses had skeletons.
Yeah, I'm thinking a bone vehicle, right? That's what you're thinking?
Oh, the fucking bone coach. Not just a porn site anymore.
Well, there was a bone coach in one of the, I can't remember if it was a Brave Nugget or part of a regular episode, but it was I forget where it was. It was in like Chihuahua somewhere.
Wow, scary.
But it was a frightening bone coach that would roll up during the night.
Damn. Don't want that.
Anyway, at this point, the bus disappears, and a grim fate awaits those who look back. They meet their doom in a tragic accident just days later.
Oh no, it's my doom.
Legend says that their souls forever reside within the haunted bus.
Yowza.
For those who find themselves journeying from Ixtapan de la Sal to Toluca, be wary of the late night hour. The Mexican ghost bus might cross your path, offering a chilling ride to eternity.
Wow. I keep thinking you're about to say Mexican Ghostbusters.
Yes, me as well. Which I'm a fan of. I would watch every episode of that as well.
When I put this into Google, the auto search was Mexican Ghostbusters until you got rid of the tours part.
Is that a thing? Is that a movie? Is that like
it's probably a TV show? I bet
knockoff, like Turkish Star Wars.
At the very least, it's a sketch on Sábado Gigante.
Nice. Fuck yeah. Damn. Okay. Well, is there anything else that we need to know about ghost buses going into the week here?
No, I mean, just if it seems like a bus is beckoning to you somehow, if it has some sort of pull on your soul.
It's so funny that you can ride it for a couple of stops if you really need to. Like if you're late for work and it's like, well, you could take the ghost bus, but you better get off. So I was almost late. I had to take the ghost bus. You know what that's like. Oh God, did you look back? No, didn't look back. Terrifying. Folks, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Werewolf Radar. Y'all are the best. Specifically those of you who are part of our Dark Council, which if you really liked what we did.
I'm glad you also, sorry, Roger just brought up Mexican Ghostbusters. I was also looking up that same exact thing. It's real, baby.
Casa Fatismas a la Mexicana.
If you liked what we did here today, you too can be part of the Dark Council by going to our Patreon and helping us out with a small financial donation. You will help keep the radar spinning, keep the show on the air, and maybe help spread the word about it just a little bit. If you can't help us out in that way, please give us 5 stars wherever 5 stars are given on podcasts, or even just tell your mates about it. Tell your friends that we have a goofy old time goofing about ghouls over here, which was almost the name of the podcast. I think it was Gabbin' About Ghouls.
Gabbin' About Ghoulies.
Yeah.
Back when we were more creative than ever. You can check us out on Twitch. You can check us out on Instagram. You can check us out at werewolfradar.com. You can just punch Werewolf Radar into the internet. It's almost impossible not to find us out there.
You have to punch it, no fingers.
No punch it, no fingers.
Knuckles only.
Shout out to Chuck from Snappy Little Numbers for our intro and outro song. We're even still on Twitter.
We are, and Threads.
It's kind of zombie Twitter now.
And Blue Skis.
Blue Skis.
Blue Skis is that Ozarks version.
Yes, Ozarks Twitter, exactly. Until next time, as always, our sign-off line on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Punch the sky! Spaceman Joe! Namaste.